All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Brad. Welcome back to That Makes Sense, the YouTube channel about synthesizers, electronic music, 80s music, 90s music, vinyl. Um, this is the third installment of the Depeche Mode Boxset series, at least my take on it. Um, we're going to talk about Construction Time again, Boxset 3. This came out in 2018. I do actually have some of the original releases. I wanted to talk about is the U.S. releases versus the European releases. The box set right here is basically re-releasing of a lot of European releases. I don't know. I don't have U.S. releases of these, so I don't think anything's really different. Well, I take that back. I'm going to talk about the live concerts tracks on these. I kind of discovered them by accident. I was I was at a used record store, and there was like a Depeche Mode bootleg. Let's see if I can find it here. Yeah, so there is a Depeche Mode bootleg I found, a very early Depeche Mode, and it's called Depeche Mode New Mode. And basically, what it is a bootleg of Depeche Mode recorded, I would imagine, in 1981. If it's from Crocs or one of those. Oh, it says recorded in Manchester at Fagans 3/11/81. So all of these songs are from Speak and Spell. What's really cool about it is that it has television set recorded on there, which was an unreleased track, as well as Sometimes I Wish I Was Dead, which was not released in the U.S., but this is all live. The pitch is a little weird on it, but needless to say, so the former owner of this record wrote their contact information on it, and this is probably I bought this, I don't know, like in the 90s, and I ended up writing to the previous owner, and they sent me a cassette tape of Depeche Mode songs that were live recorded in I would say the 1982 A Broken Frame tour. And I didn't realize it at the time, and this is before the internet, and before you could do a bunch of research on this stuff. But the Depeche Mode during this a broken, or I'm sorry, Construction Time Again era, they put some of those live tracks from the A Broken Frame tour as a series of records. So, long story short, I wanted to talk about that. Let's talk about this first record, and this is really cool cover. Get the Balance Right. A lot of people love this song. This has the combination remix, has the Great Outdoors, which is a B-side, and it has a one of the live tracks, Tora Tora Tora. This was recorded, I think all these live tracks were recorded at the Hammersmith Odeon. I hope I pronounced that, in 1982. So again, the Broken Frame tour. So that is this track. And also, I wanted to point out that Get the Balance Right, it's not a track off of Construction Time Again. And I want to make this as a point as we go forward with these releases, because there is a beef I have with Mute about this. All right, so the next one, this is really cool. This is another release of Get the Balance Right. Back in the 80s, and this is something I didn't realize because the U.S. versus Europe. But in Europe, a lot of times with the 12 inches, there was like two releases. In the U.S., there was only typically one release. That changed more in the 90s. But at that time, there was only one release in the U.S. for the single, the 12-inch single, but in the US or in Europe, there is 2. So here we have 2 releases for Get the Balance Right. Now, on the first release, it's got a B-side and 1 live track, and not a version of the single. On this one, and I really, really like the artwork. It feels really cool. It's shiny. The back of it is Get the Balance Right, original mix. So I assume the 7-inch mix, because there's only 2 versions that I know of that track. And then the live versions, My Secret Garden, See You, Satellite, and Tora, Tora, Tora. As a matter of fact, I wonder if both these have Tora, Tora, Tora live. I wonder if they're from the same show. I didn't realize that. But yeah. So it says the live side was recorded at Hammersmith Odeon on the 25th of October, 1982. So yeah, it's the same track. Both of these have the same live version of Tora, Tora, Tora. Now, what I wanted to point out is I have an original release of this record. So we'll go here. Mine's a little bit different, and these were not released in the US. So here is my copy from 1983 off Mute Records. This one has, the track listing is different, and I think this was released in France. Yeah, so this is on Vogue Records here. Released in France. Says mini album, so it's a little bit of the difference there. You've got the shinier gold cover from the box set. And then I don't think there's anything special looking about the record. But the track listing is Get the Balance Right of the original 7-inch mix, the original 12-inch mix, and then the live tracks, My Secret Garden, See You, Satellite, and Tora, Tora, Tora. So the track listing's a little bit different. I assume that these records right here from the box set are the original releases from the UK. So interesting. Let's go to the next album track. Everything Counts, which I think the artwork on this looks really, really cool. Again, the feel of the record is the same as the original that was released in 1983, which I think is a really cool thing that they took the time to print on the same type of material. This one is Everything Counts in larger amounts, so it's a 12-inch version. And then Work Hard, East End Remix. So very cool. All right, so here is the other version. Again, this is what's been the theme of, or a pattern of the Construction Time Again releases are, it's got these singles, but then there's some live tracks. So on the French version, it said it's like a mini album, which, yeah, it is. So this is Everything Counts. I think that's, again, it's got that bright gold. I'm sure this is the original feel. I don't have the original record for this. But on the second side, it's got the original 7-inch mix of Everything Counts. And then it's got 4 live tracks, again, from the Hammersmith Odeon live show back in October of 82 with New Life, Boys Say Go, Nothing to Fear, and The Meaning of Love. So we've got 2 tracks, the first 2 tracks from Speak and Spell. And the Boys Say Go, that live version is a little bit different than the album track of on Speak and Spell. It's kind of more fun, more dancey. And then Nothing to Fear, and then The Meaning of Love. So that is that one. Going on, and I think the artwork here, that's original artwork for this box set. It's pretty cool. But we have Love in Itself, which I think is freaking cool looking cover there. which it has Love in Itself 3, Fools, Love in Itself 4. So I can't. I don't know off the top of my head which version of Love in Itself is like. There's the album version, like the 7-inch version, the music video version, which that would be like the 7-inch version that's on the US album at least. Then there's like a 12-inch version, which I believe is that Love in Itself 3. And then Love in Itself 4 is like an acoustic, fun little lounge version, I would say. So Fools, that's a B-side, that's a 12-inch. And let's look at the final record in this box set. Yeah, okay, so again, Love in Itself. Love in Itself 2. I don't know how they come up with this, but that's the original 7-inch version. I don't know if there is a Love in Itself 1. I don't think that was ever released, if there was, but that's what they call it. So Love in Itself 2 is the 7-inch version. Love in Itself 3, that's a 12-inch version. Love in Itself 4 is kind of like this lounge version. And also what I think's really cool about Love in Itself 4 is they've got like an acoustic guitar and a piano, I believe, in it. So I think that's the first Depeche Mode song release that doesn't use synthesizers, which I think is cool. And it was something different. So anyways, on the back here, you've got the one Love in Itself, and then you've got more live songs from that 1982 Broken Frame tour. You've got Just Can't Get Enough, Photograph of You, Shout, and Photographic. So you've got 3 tracks from the Speak and Spell era. Shout is a B-side from Speak and Spell. And the Photograph of You, that is a track off a Broken Frame. So yeah, pretty cool. And I've got another release of this. I think it's also a French release. Yeah, so I think that actually this looks like a German release. Again, if you look at this original release, it's got some German on there. So yeah, printed in West Germany, German edition. So this is the German one. Again, it doesn't. This European one doesn't have the shiny gold on the cover as the box set. The box set is this one right here. Also, the feel of the cover is a little bit smoother, while the box set release, which I assume is the original, it's similar, very similar to the original release of the UK version. It has that kind of, I don't know, it doesn't have that smoothness to it. But yeah, we can look at the tracks. It's Love in Itself 2, Just Can't Get Enough, Photograph of You, Shout, and Photographic, the live version. So the track listing is the same. You know it's dated when you see West Germany, printed in West Germany. So yeah, that's what I have for this, for a Broken Frame. I think the cover of Broken Frame is really, really cool. This is the album. This is the re-release that came out, I don't know, in 2000, I don't know, 2018 or so. I can't remember, but they basically reissued all their albums again with a thicker vinyl. And this, what's amazing about this to me is like that's an actual photograph. I always thought it was like in a photo studio, but no, that thing's real photo. There's an interesting story about the photography of this album on the DVD surround sound releases, but it's on YouTube. You can watch it. So let's take a look. The mini poster. Here it is. Really cool. Love in Itself. So I think like I said, the live tracks were never released in the U.S., so it was pretty cool to get all of those on vinyl. Again, I wish they would have released the 7-inch versions of the songs. There it does have the original 7-inch mix of Everything Counts, which I believe which was released on the back in the 80s when it was originally released. But they definitely could have released the 7-inch version of Fools, as well as Work Hard. The other thing I wanted to say is that I think I talked about Get the Balance Right. It's not a track off Construction Time Again. So I do appreciate that they put that in there because it gives, I think, more value to the box set. You get more tracks, and Get the Balance Right. It's a great song. That was a track that I think Daniel Miller said, we need a new single. Can you make something? And that's how Get the Balance Right came out. And I believe that was placed on the album People Are People, which was a U.S. release. I think that came after Some Great Reward, if I remember right, but it contained a couple tracks from Construction Time Again, a couple tracks from Some Great Reward, has Get the Balance Right. And I think it was just like a cash cow that Mute Records tried to make some more money with in the U.S. and maybe get them out, get Depeche Mode more known at that time. But yeah, so that is my little review, my take on the Construction Time Again box set. All right, thanks everybody.